Welcome to Designed for the Creative Mind, a podcast for interior designers and creative entrepreneurs to run their business with purpose, efficiency, and passion. Because while every design is different, the process should remain the same. Prepare yourself for some good conversations with amazing guests, a dash of Jesus, and a touch of the woo-woo, and probably a swear word or two. If you're ready to stop trading your time for money and enjoy your interior design business, you are in the right place. I'm your host, Michelle Lynn. Hey y'all, welcome back to the podcast. I'm Michelle Lynn, and today I want to talk to you about the 90% rule. The 90% rule is basically my way of saying that doing less is the fastest way to make more. What I've seen in this industry, and actually it's not limited to our industry, but perfectionism. Does this ring a bell? You feel like I might be talking to you? Because perfectionism is not a badge of honor. Perfectionism, babe, it's a profit killer. The fastest way to grow your design business is to stop giving 110% everywhere. I know that probably makes some of you cringe because we're taught that excellent means going above and beyond in every single area. But here's the truth that no one else will say out loud, which is my theme for this season. Clients cannot tell the difference between your 90% and your 110% in most areas. They only notice in the places where it really counts. So that's why I've coined this 90% rule. It's not about slacking off. It's about being strategic with your time and energy so you can deliver the best results where it matters and stop draining yourself in the places where it doesn't. So in this episode, I'm going to share with you what the 90% rule is and why it works, how over-delivering and perfectionism actually damage your business, and of course, how to decide where to give the 90% and where to give the 100 or 110%. All right, so let's dive in. Designers wear perfectionism like a badge of honor. And you know what? I say that with love and humility because I did the same thing. We pride ourselves on going above and beyond, on delivering more options, more details, more polish, more perfection. And sure, it sounds really good in theory, but in practice, it's exhausting. It's exhausting. It's also unsustainable and it eats your profit. It's like this little chomp, chomp, chomp profit monster. So over delivering does not always equal better service. It can confuse your clients. If you give them too many choices, they're going to freeze. If you spend extra hours tweaking a presentation or looking for that perfect lamp, y'all, they don't even notice. In my experience, I had a team member in the past who would spend hours and hours and hours looking for the perfect insert whatever item. Okay. And I would tell her, Megs, like you don't need to find the exact right perfect one. And I kid you not, y'all, the item that she would over source for is the one that they would change. Okay. So clients don't even notice that you're aiming for the perfection there. And not just the industry, but society glorifies perfection. Okay, so our industry, our society, they glorify perfection, but business rewards efficiency. So let me say that again for those of you in the back. Society and our industry glorifies perfection, but business rewards efficiency. So the more time that you spend trying to be perfect everywhere, the less time you have for the things that actually grow your firm. So the problem is that perfectionism is disguised as service. So the 90% rule is simple. It's not always easy, but it is simple. And that is that if you can deliver 90% of excellence in most areas, that's not cutting corners. It is scaling your business smart. It is scaling your business strategically. And when I say scaling, I don't necessarily mean it's growing and employing more people, but it is growing your profit. So your clients, I said this a minute ago, They can't tell the difference between your 90% and your 100 or 110% in most areas. They're already wowed, babe. They're wowed by the level of professionalism that you have presented in your sales process. So if you've been following me for any length of time, my Rolling in the Dough workshop, my free workshop that I offer twice a year, in fact, I believe it's coming up in December again, is the entire sales process that will walk your professional clients through your professional process. They've been wowed. They will be wowed when they sign the contract and you go ahead and set all of the upcoming appointments, including the design presentation. They will be wowed when you show up to these appointments that are strategic and specific in their agenda. Okay. Your clients are already wowed. So that last 10 or 20%, it's often for you. Okay. So that last 10 or 20%. So like if you delivered 90%, they're wowed. If you deliver 100% or 110%, that's for you. And it's costing you time and money. So get that ego, put it in check, and actually trade that ego for profit. So where should you give 100% or more? And I say or more loosely. Let's just say 100% is pretty damn good. The things that directly impact the client experience or the final project outcome, that's where you should give it your all. It's the experience that I teach in the Interior Design Business Bakery, the experience that we offer at ML Interiors Group. We call it the ML experience. We loosely or cheekily call it the 16 steps of sanity. Okay. And those 16 steps have sub steps, and those sub steps have sub steps. But it's because it's a very strategically orchestrated dance. The installation should be seamless. The relationship and the communication, the decisions that shape the look and the feel of the home. This is where you give 100%. The 90%, you can save that that you shizzle, okay? Yes, I know. I know in my introduction I say that I swear a little bit, but I'm really trying not to because some of y'all have kids in the back seat. So, where should you give the 90%? It's on the back end tasks, the busy work. Okay, the perfectionism traps that don't actually move the needle. That's the shift that frees you up to grow. And I'm going to give you an example of how I made this adjustment at ML Interiors Group in just a second. So I'm going to give you some specifics. But the crazy part, babe, the crazy part is that when you do less, you can actually create more. Okay, you save time. So this means if you have this extra time that is showing up on your calendar because you're not putting the 110% in, it means you have more capacity to take on new, better clients. Okay, or invest in marketing, spend time networking. You also, going back to, I think, an episode 3 or 4 episodes again, you make decisions faster. And that keeps your projects moving. Okay, you have more energy because you protect your creativity and your energy for the parts of the process that actually matter. So if you're getting bogged down in this perfectionism, then you're going to be too tired to execute on the areas that really do matter sometimes. And your clients, they're going to feel it. Your clients can feel the energy when you're spread too thin. So doing less does not make you look lazy. It makes you look focused. Clients feel your confidence when you're not drowning in perfectionism. And that confidence is worth far, far, far more than the extra 3 to 15 hours that you spent making a presentation just, pixel perfect. So some areas in your business that I suggest making this practical. Where can you apply the 90% rule? In your design deliverables. I know many of you provide your client with options, but if you can provide them with one option that meets their budget, their timeline, and their style, it's way better than 3 to choose from. They're paying you to do this. They're paying you to tell them what they need. Okay, more options don't equal better service. They create longer conversations, they create decision fatigue, they create confusion, and they drain your time. Let me explain this because I'm imagining some of you guys are saying, well, how do you do that? My clients want three. Well, first of all, you tell them in the front, that's not how you work. Okay, this is part of your sales process. But then when they sign the contract, the meetings that I was telling you that we set up, it includes going through some of the options and narrowing things down. Okay, so you build it into your process. Remember, I said that the deliverables that you provide, the experience that you give your client, that should be flawless. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, your client communication. I highly recommend a Friday follow up to every single project that you have active. Okay, if you want to do it on Wednesdays and you call it your weekly update, whatever, I don't care. But once a week, okay, we do Friday follow ups. But what I've had to explain to my team, y'all, you do not need to write them a novel. You do not need a 3-paragraph detailed update when 2 sentences will do. Okay, clear and concise builds trust just as much as lengthy explanations. And quite frankly, those lengthy explanations are what we're supposed to be protecting our clients from. They pay us to handle the details. So give them the 30,000-foot view. Everything's on track. Installation is still scheduled for X date. There might be a lamp running late, but we can deliver it later. Boom, done. Okay, so keep it professional, but keep it concise. I think sometimes we over explain because we want to appear smart or we want to appear like we're taking care of our client. We want to appear capable, like whatever it is, like get down to the details of it and figure out why you feel like you need to do that and address it and flip it around because you're not doing your clients a favor. You're doing yourself a favor. Oh, and here's a big one. Y'all, if you've been around, if you're in my lead lab, we've been having this conversation and it keeps coming up. So many of you will not post on social media because it's not perfect. Let me just say, stop chasing flawless curation. I've said this once, I've said it 100 times. And again, if you've been in my lead lab, I'm saying it to you again. Consistency matters more than perfection. Y'all consider getting that a tattoo. Consistency matters more than perfection. That is for social media, but it's in a lot of other avenues. So if you show up regularly and you have solid content, even if it's not magazine worthy, even if your caption is awkward, even if the photo's a little dingy, even if it's not polished, you show up regularly with solid content, that consistency matters more than perfection. So get your booty onto the social media and start being consistent. What I would do in the past is I would spend Sunday evenings. I'm not real excited about this because I don't like to work weekends, evenings, or holidays. But after my kid would go to sleep, Sunday evenings, I would schedule 3 posts for the week. Boom, boom, boom. If I had a little extra energy, I'd post for the following week as well. And then I didn't have to think about it, but you're paying attention and you're doing it ahead of time. Okay, so social media. I'm going to tell you, take a look at Sidemark. That's a sales and marketing software that I am a co-founder of. One of the functions, one of the features in Sidemark is that you can pre-plan your social media. And yeah, I know there's other tools that do that, but this has a lot of other benefits that I'm not going to give you a commercial for right now. You've heard me talk about it. Okay, last but not least is operations. A template that works at 90% effectiveness is infinitely better than a perfect system that never gets finished. And one of my favorite sayings is done is better than perfect. But hey, if you join the bakery, I've got my 16 steps of sanity all outlined for you and implementable so you don't have to worry about it never getting finished. But bakery aside, these are the shifts that free up your time, your energy, your mental load, and it does not sacrifice the client experience. So a minute ago, I told you that I would tell you about a big aha that we had at ML Interiors Group because we used to fall into the perfectionism trap, specifically when it came to design presentations, but in a lot of other areas as well. And it's something that I've had to really like pull my team from falling into this perfectionism trap. But where I was stuck and leading my team down in the wrong direction is that we would spend weeks preparing the design presentations. Okay. We would have, like, I'm exaggerating, but we would have 100 slides for the design presentation. Okay. We would be doing endless sourcing and layer upon layer upon layer upon layer for this presentation because we thought that's what would wow clients. And what I mean by layer upon layer upon layer upon layer upon layer is that we would show them here's the room, and then here's the dining table, and here's the leg on the dining table, and here's the finish on the dining table, and here's the polish on the dining table, and here's how the shadows look on the dining table, and here's the underside of the dining table, and here's the left side of the dining table, and the right side of the dining table. Now, I'm exaggerating, yes, but we were ridiculous. But here's the truth is that the clients didn't notice. If anything, their eyes started to glaze over with all of the detail. They were already impressed with the first impression. It checked all their boxes, like here's the room. All that extra time and angles and like all that extra polish, it was completely invisible to the client. Completely invisible. But again, this goes back to doing it. Like, why were we doing it? Why? Because I thought it made us look smarter and better. Okay. That's what it came down to. I don't want to say it was my insecurity, but ego, I don't know what it is, but I'm really going to suggest you guys look in to yourself and find out why you're doing it. And if it's not benefiting the client, if it's serving your needs, then stop doing it. So, what did we do at ML Interiors Group? We shifted. Instead of showing an overly polished version of the design presentation, y'all, we just started delivering a beautiful, well organized, and efficient presentation with the samples. Okay. So, that one change, I'm not kidding, it saved our team 10 to 15 hours per project, depending on the size of the project. Because think about it. You know what else we were doing? We were putting captions on every single slide and describing the items. Y'all, I'm a little bit embarrassed now that I'm saying this out loud, but that's what I do. Is like, let me tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly. And this one's kind of ugly. So, but multiply. So let's just say it's 10 hours. Okay. Let's just say it's 10 hours per project. And if you multiply that across several projects, suddenly we had capacity to take on more clients and hit deadlines faster. And what it does is it increased our profit margins. So if you take 10 hours from 10 projects, it's 100 hours that you just got back. Plus, I'm not paying my team, so that money goes into our profit. Especially the way I teach, if you're doing a flat fee, we weren't always accounting for the 10 to 15 extra hours of putting that presentation together. So there were instances where we would go over our allotted time. And it would be almost like a break even or lose money calculation. Ouch. But our clients, they were still thrilled. Like they knew we were confident in our recommendations. They weren't overwhelmed with every angle of every selection polished up like the queen silver. Okay? They appreciate the clarity because especially by this point, they trust us. This is the best option. We've discussed it throughout the process because we have these milestones where we have these conversations. So it's not like HGTV where we just disappear and we come back and poof, here you go. We're not mind readers. Okay, so the lesson here is that chasing perfection was for us. Delivering the solid strategic presentation was for them, and that's where the profit lives.
You're an interior designer, not a marketer, but somehow you're stuck spending hours on SEO, social media, and email campaigns instead of doing what you love, designing beautiful spaces. Marketing shouldn't take over your business. That's why Sidemark was built by designers for designers. We offer done-for-you marketing services like SEO, paid ads, email, and even social media management so you don't have to lift a finger. Not quite ready to let someone run it all for you? We also have done with you software subscriptions that include all of the tools you need, along with live coaching, courses, and 24/7 live support to help you market smarter with a clear plan. Imagine getting back to doing more of why you started your business in the first place. Solve the marketing overwhelm and visit www.mysidemark.com today. That's www.mysidemark.com.
So here's a filter. Here's a filter that I use and that I had shared with my team. I probably need to go back and share it again. Here's a filter. Ask yourself, does this directly impact the client experience or the final project outcome? Okay. And let me just say that one piece, that one selection that you are looking for to be perfect does not impact the overall final project outcome. That one lamp that she was looking for over and over and over again, it does not impact the final outcome. Okay. So ask yourself, does this directly impact the client experience or the final project outcome? If yes, then you give 100%. If no, 90% is more than enough. So here's an example. Your meet and greet template, okay? Your contract template. If it's 90% done, it's fine. You can tweak it as you go. I was on the phone with a gentleman who was interested in the interior design business bakery. And I asked him, I was like, well, how come? Well, for one, like he wasn't working with the contract. First of all, I nearly fell out of my chair, but I'm not here to judge. I'm here to help. And I asked him, well, why aren't you using a contract? He says, well, I have one, but I haven't been able to brand it to match the rest of my branding that I just had done. I'm up leveling my business. And y'all, who cares if it doesn't have the logo, the perfect colors, the exact formatting, the font that goes with your brand? Get the damn contract signed. Okay? Tweak it as you go. Now, back end organization, let's say, you're using Dropbox or you're using Google Drive or whatever storage, okay? If it's 90%, it doesn't have to be alphabetized. Good enough to function is all you need. Can you find the stuff that you're looking for when you need it? If you saw my Dropbox 10 years ago, it was beautiful. You see it today, I'm like, it's going to get the job done. I got better things to do. Okay? Good enough to function is all you need. The final styling on installation day, now that's 100% babe, because they're going to remember that forever. It's the styling, it's the professionalism of your delivery crew. It's how you show up. Are you there giving directions or are you there flustered and overwhelmed? Same thing with communication during the design process. None of our clients like to be out of the loop. Communication is where the trust is built. So you give it 100%. So again, every decision does not deserve your full perfectionist energy. Save it for the moments that matter. So here's what I want you to take away. Doing more does not always serve your client. Sometimes it just serves your perfectionism, your ego, your insecurity. Okay, babe, I know that hurts. I know that hurts. I'm saying it with love. Okay, I'm saying it with love. But the 90% rule will free you to focus your energy where it counts. Oh, and here's a good one. Are you ready? Excellence is not the same as perfection. Excellence is not the same as perfection. Y'all, I could just drop the mic right now on this podcast and be done with that. Am I right? but I got a little bit more. I got a little bit more in me. Okay, your clients so your clients don't want more. They want clarity, confidence, and results. Your clients don't want more. They're hiring you to go through and filter everything out. They want clarity, they want confidence and results. And that's exactly what the 90% rule delivers. I've given you examples about what I teach in the bakery. The 16 steps of sanity, the steps, the sub steps, the appointments that we set up as soon as the contract is signed. The strategy of walking the client through the process and giving them the experience that will allow you to shine with the excellence. So I don't just talk theory. I give you the exact systems and processes that I use in my own firm. In fact, those 4 strategic, specific appointments are something that my team tried out the second half of last year and the first part of this year. And once we had them perfected, I introduced them into the interior design business bakery. So it's always growing and evolving as my firm grows and evolves. Now, these strategies are the ones that work at the 90% efficiency so that you don't have to chase perfection or build everything from scratch. So the Interior Design Business Bakery is designed to help you scale faster, protect your time, and bake your profit into every single project. And the 90% rule is one of the ways that we do it. So I'm inviting you, take a look. The link is in the show notes. You can go to thedesignbakehouse.com, click on coaching. You can see the different programs that we offer, but hop on a call with me. I'm happy to talk to you about the Interior Design Business Bakery. So, y'all, the 90% rule. It's another rule of running a design business that no one else will say out loud. So, I'm Michelle Lynn, and I will see you next time with more of the truths that you actually need to hear. Thanks for being here, y'all. And if I could just get 2 minutes of your time for a review wherever you were listening to this podcast, I would really appreciate it. Thank you, and I'll see you soon. Hey, y'all. If you love the show and find it useful, I would really appreciate it if you would share with your friends and followers. And if you like what you're hearing, want to put a face with a name, and get even more business advice, then join me in my Facebook group, the Interior Designers Business Launchpad. Yeah, I know, it's Facebook. But just come on in for the training and then leave without scrolling your feed. It's fun, I promise you'll enjoy it. And finally, I hear it's good for business to get ratings on your podcasts. So please drop yours on whatever platform you use to listen to this. We're all about community over competition. So let's work on elevating our industry one designer at a time. See you next time.